On average, the currency collapses every 30 to 40 years in most political jurisdictions for all of human history.
Your storehouse of value, whatever it is going to be deflated terribly during your lifetime.
The best currency of the last 100 years is the dollar. The winning currency of the 20th century, the best currency in the world, lost 99.9% of its value. That's a winner.
Okay, now you come across Bitcoin, and you talked about it as if it was abstracted gold.
If God's not going to set up Divine Bank and solve all your monetary problem, what's the second best idea? We don't trust the government. We don't trust a local bank. We don't trust each other, and we want the bank to last for 1,000 years. Let's go ahead and build out this Bitcoin network.
My guest today, Michael Saylor, started a number of successful companies, successful by almost every standard. It wasn't sufficient to expand out the full scope of his ambition, and I would say that in the most positive sense. He became deeply interested in 2020 in Bitcoin, in consequence, and has been at the forefront of a revolution in finance. His company now owns 3% of the Bitcoin in circulation, and the successful company that he built with blood, sweat, and tears, let's say 10 years ago, has become a hyper-successful company in consequence. He's been an evangelist for Bitcoin. He's used religious symbolism and terminology to describe it. He's on fire for Bitcoin. And we talked about things you really need to know today. You need to know who Michael Saylor is, where he got his ambition, how his grounding in fantasy and science fiction allied with the encouragement of his parents to produce the ambition in him that has culminated in this consequence. You need to know that Bitcoin is increasingly becoming an accepted monetary standard like gold around the world. There are revolutionary transformations on that basis in the last year, not least because of the new Trump administration. If you're young, or if you're middle-aged, or if you're old, and you're trying to understand how you will store the work that will comprise much of your life, you need to listen to this podcast and hear what Michael Saylor has to say. So you discovered Bitcoin, as I understand it, in March of 2020, which was relatively recently, and it had been around for a while, and you had been doing a lot of other things, but it moved your life laterally, as I understand it. And I'm curious, you're an engineer and a software engineer. I'm curious about what it was that you discovered and realized that produced this profound change in your orientation, and why you think it's justified, and why you evangelize for it as well, I guess.
I discovered Bitcoin 30 years into my career. So I started a company late 1989. For 30 years, I had been running an enterprise software company, MicroStrategy. We brought it public on the NASDAQ in 1998. Initially, we were focused upon one line of business, which is to sell software that allows banks or large retailers or insurance companies to analyze all of the data in their databases and assess risk and come up with marketing campaigns. Or if you wanted to figure out what sells with what and do market basket analysis or any kind of risk assessment, and you're a large enterprise, you would want to build a proprietary analytical system. We call that business intelligence. So that was successful. Then I was in my expansionary era in my 30s and in my 40s, and I wanted to create lots of things. And so I launched 10 other businesses. I bought up all the domain names like angel.com and alarm.com and strategy.com and hope.com. And I launched businesses, and some of them were singles, some were doubles. I bought voice.com. I sold it for $30 million. I sold the Angel business for about $100 million. The alarm.com business, we spun off. It's a multi-billion-dollar publicly traded company today. And then I launched, I don't know, a dozen other things. They just whiffed. They failed.
What was your hit rate, just out of curiosity? Can you estimate it?
I would say that the thing I started with turned out to be the biggest